Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of Queers and Qualms. What's up, SarJ? How you doing on this beautiful day?
What's up, Yaz? I'm super excited to be here today. Another episode of Queers and Qualms, and we're rolling right along.
We are. And it's starting to look beautiful outside. The weather's breaking. We're starting to see spring coming up. And I think it's a great time to talk about the love that's in the air.
Spring is in the air. Spring is the perfect time to fall in love, guys. Unless you're getting ready for a hot girl summer, in which case,
yeah,
fall in love in the fall.
Right. In which case, you're probably already in a relationship, to be honest. But
Guilty.
No, as the flowers start to bloom on the trees, love starts to bloom in the air.
It sure does. It is a good time.
Clearly, this episode is about love.
Today's topic is love. Yeah. We can't be the L word. We can't be a lesbian-based podcast.
One of the L words.
And not touch on one of the L words, which is love. So we're super excited to bring this episode to you guys today. And I mean, first of all, before we get off on our podcast, we got to talk about what is love and
There's a lot of different kinds. Yeah, a lot of different kinds of love. Love manifests in a lot of different kinds of ways. And yeah, when I thought about love, the first thing I thought about was three different things. I thought about platonic love, romantic love, and familial love. To me, those are like three basic kinds of love. Obviously, one of them, platonic, being, the way you love a friend. You love them, that's your ride or die. You do anything for them. And the love is kind of built and manifests in a different way than, say, like familial love.
Mm-hmm. Like familial love, which is, familial love is parents and siblings and cousins. And I feel like that kind of love is easy, air quotes, for most people. There's some people who are not like...
Depends on your family.
Yes.
Because there's some family where you have to love them, or you, like, quote, have to love them because you're your family. And yeah. And it's important to note that love and like are very different.
Very.
Like familial love, a lot of times it's like, you love them because they're your family, and you don't always have to like the people in your family, but the love is kind of inherent. They brought you into this world. They help raise you up, whether it's extended family or the family in the house. It's like, the love grows from the time you're born.
Mm-hmm.
It manifests in a bunch of different ways, taking care of each other, all that stuff.
And sibling love. Like, sibling love is a big one. I think
love,
everyone's
hate.
Like, yeah. Everyone's like, I can't stand. Like sibling love, I think, is one of those things where it's like, I think especially in our family, like, we love each other very much, but we don't always have to necessarily like each other. And then sometimes sibling love develops. Like, you kind of love, you love your sibling, but you don't always hang out with them, or vice versa.
Exactly.
Maybe, you can love them to death and not really be friends with them, or maybe you like them a whole bunch. But, it's familial love is one of those things that are complicated, too. We could probably do a whole separate
love in general is complicated. But funny enough, it's a natural feeling. It's like, as human beings, I feel like we naturally, like, it's not really a learned behavior. You love your mother the moment you pop out of, the vagina and you suck on the teat. You're like, man, that's love right there. Like, you feeding me, you giving me life. It's love. Like,
absolutely.
So we kind of, as human beings, inherently know how to love.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like really it's hatred that's learned behavior.
Yeah.
Which is like, on the other end, obviously, if you have love, you have the opposite. You have people who don't love and, are just haters. But
boo.
Yeah. Boo, tomato. But yeah.
But babies are like, babies and not humans, but living beings generally are born with, like, babies are literally biologically designed to fall in love the minute they're born, because it's part of their survival tactic.
Yeah.
Like, I have to love you because I am helpless. So please love me back as well.
Or I can't do anything.
And babies will, like, that's why you see babies, even if they're not necessarily connected to their body. Like, there are some babies who are born and go into adoption and things like that. But it's been scientifically proven how important it is for a baby to have a person.
Yeah, a caregiver.
Doesn't
have to be the mother.
Right, immediately in their presence, because they are literally like, love me now. and I will fall in love with you so easily. I will die, but I will also love you back.
Right.
That's the other cool thing about babies is they'll love the hell out of you until they're about 4 or 5 and they figure out you're an asshole.
Right. And then they start actually thinking, they're like, I'm not really sure I bang with you like that. You know?
Actually, you're not that cool.
Yeah.
But for the first 2 years, for all of our parents out there, like that kid loves you, dog, and it's hard to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can.
And even if you do go wrong, they're not holding it against you. They're like, I still love you.
Yeah. Child's love really
is literally
endure.
Unconditional.
Yeah, it does endure. That as a parent, and I'm an adoptive parent. I know like sometimes my daughter would look at me and you can just tell she was so in love with me, and sometimes I would be like, girl, let me start looking at myself how I look at. Right. I need confidence because you love me right now. Let me, and I love her over to the moon and back. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. And so that's familial love, it's natural and inherent. And then there's what I think most people are familiar with when talking about love, which is romantic love. It's the, you turn a certain age and you got crushes and you want to go date and you want to fall in love. I think everyone is like, oh my God, my whole goal in life is I need to fall in love. And if I don't fall in love, I'm going to be lonely and sad and a cat lady. And I'm like, okay,
I blame 90s R&B music for millennials
90s in general,
that way.
90s movies, 90s R&B music.
Y'all
the way they showed love was kind of toxic for real, but we won't get into that.
But I spent my entire youth feeling that same way. My life will be incomplete if I don't find the one.
Yeah.
That's usually what people think of romantic love.
And I think you said something really interesting. You said the one. Mm-hmm. I find that so interesting because you love so many people in your life that is it really realistic to be out here at, looking for the one? Do people have the one? I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the episode, but, that's just something I wanted to say right now because I feel like, people love differently and people will love more than one person in their life, whether that's romantic, platonic, or familial. You're going to love a lot of people in your life. So it's is it realistic to be out here being I have the one.
The one. Yeah, we'll get into more of the one and the whole soulmate thing in a little bit. But I mean, initially I would say no. And they also have, there's also I've heard a few different times in my life, and I've heard a pretty common saying which is when it comes to romantic love, you're allowed. Most people have 3 big loves in their lives. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I've heard that.
The first one.
It's your first.
The first
love,
one is puppy love.
Right.
The second one you learn, and the third one is true love or something like that.
True love.
Which I'm on love sounds like number a Disney 6, so movie. I don't think it'll. Yeah. I fall in love with.
I fall in love every time.
I've fallen in love with every girlfriend I've had since I was 18. You're the one, and it's maybe not.
Right. And just because you're in love, does that make that person the one? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people always the one. What are the what does that mean? What are the things that make this person the one? Because you can love people and not end up with them, and so that's kind of the trouble with the romantic love.
Heartbreak. No.
Yeah, to be honest. Yeah, pretty sad on that one.
And platonic love, we touched on that one super quick, but those are obviously loves between people who are not familial, friends, girlfriends, best friends. I think a platonic
and those
love,
run deep. I feel
deep.
that's the most because you're choosing to love that person. It's not family where you have to love them because you're family, and it's not romantic where you have other interests that are love and romantic behavior around that. Your platonic loves are your ride or dies. They're the ones that
And one thing I thought about very briefly, I know I'm an athlete and that's how I relate to everything in my life, but a good platonic love that I have experienced is a love for my teammates and my coaches.
Exactly.
There are teammates that when it comes to especially training and athletics, love that girl. I've had teammates where I'm man, you love to see them succeed.
Exactly.
Or you love your coach. You care about, their well-being, their family's well-being, that they love you too. And I think that's a platonic love that I think sometimes gets overlooked because a lot of people I think gets overlooked because most people aren't athletes to that level. But once you get to a certain level of athletics, your team and your coaches are a type of love too.
Definitely. And with platonic love, I just thought about this. In my opinion, it doesn't always have to be a person. Like, you can love, like, your career. You can love different things that you do in your life. You can love your cat or something like that. You know, your pets and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and so, like, what kind of love that falls under, you know, the lines are kind of blurred, but that is a different kind of love. It's a strong feeling. If we were kind of to define what love is, it's a strong feeling and connection to a person or thing or activity and something. Like, when you say you love pizza, how does that make you feel? Like, I'm like, man, I love, like,
it's the endorphins.
Yeah, it literally releases something just like
what sends those butterflies through your stomach? What makes you feel good? What puts you in a state of relaxation? What puts you in a state of like openness and vulnerability?
Yep.
Like, you know,
definitely.
Loving things is a good one too, because Lord knows I love jujitsu. That's a good one.
Yeah, like Lord knows I love food, man. My relationship. Food makes me so happy. Like, all the endorphins comes out of my head when I just have some, and I just taking that first bite, man. I love that. I love that. And there's some, like, we're relating right now love to, like, a positive feeling and stuff, which, you know, is what I associate it with. But you can love things that aren't necessarily good for you, which can lead to, like, heartbreak or, like, you know, in the most objectified way, I would want to say, like, if you love drugs and you're a drug addict, it's not, you know, that's not, like, it's not healthy for you. So
you could love drinking, that don't mean
yeah, right. So, you know, with every good thing, there's another page to it. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I love. So yeah, and that's what this episode is all about. So my next question, Sarj, is what is the difference between, like, feeling love for something or someone and showing that you love, like, showing love rather?
The difference between feeling love and showing love. Okay, like, I mean, feeling love is kind of like, okay, I'll take the easy one. Like, that's like, you know that feeling that you get when you see someone that you have a crush on, or like you're in love with your girlfriend.
Yeah, those butterflies.
Yeah, and like, I also think, like, for me too, like, I know I'm in love when I'm like, oh, she is so beautiful. Like, you know,
even
like,
when you out here in your bonnet, like, don't got no makeup on.
You deserve to be on the cover of Vogue, girl. Just wake up and boom. So I always know, like, I'm definitely feeling it when, like, no matter what, I look at her and I'm like, yeah, perfection. And it's like, you know, and that type of feeling for me takes time to develop. Like, the woman I'm with now, when I first saw her, of course I thought she was hot. Like, I'm gonna, you know, ooh, she's hot. But the longer we get together, the more I'm like, I mean, you're fucking hot.
Yeah,
like,
and it's beautiful inside and out. You start learning the stuff about that person, and the stuff you're learning about them makes them more beautiful in your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even their flaws, even the stuff that they don't like, whether it's physical or like anything about their personality. Like, if you love somebody, like, it grows and it changes, and it's ever, like, it develops along with your relationship. So,
and there's little stuff too, like, you know, you see someone in their face and you're like, okay, like, you know, I love you. But there'll be little things to me, like, and maybe that's my love language. Wow, we'll get into that later. But, like, you know, for me, it's like little things too, like the way your eyebrows grow. Like, you know, like, it's
you notice the little stuff.
Little stuff. Like, that mole behind your arm above your shoulder is like,
it's very specific.
Pink. Like,
I'm thinking about something right now.
Like little stuff like that isn't normally traditional standards of beauty or attraction that become like just perfect, like, to you. And I think that's when, at least for me, that's when I start to feel like, oh, I'm falling. Yeah. Because every little thing to me is like beautiful. Yeah. And the difference between, like, okay, feeling it and showing it is, like, I think everybody shows love differently. And if you're in a mutual relationship and you can show love, I'm not really super verbal about it. Like, I'm not like, oh, like, I will say I love you back and I love you, hang up the phone, stuff like that. But I like to show love through, like, little things like PDA and holding hands, or like, and like we talked about food. Like, I'm big on like I never share my food, but like I find myself cooking for you, or like,
Yeah. Honestly, this is a good time to bring in the love languages, because you just mentioned like acts of service. Your way of showing that you love someone is by doing something for them. So I think the basic 5 love languages that we have here are physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, gift giving and receiving, and quality time.
Yeah.
So you said you're really into showing your partner that you love them by giving or like doing things for them,
acts of
cooking
service.
for them.
Yeah,
acts of service. And for me, I'm more of a physical touch person. A lot of times, like, it takes me a long time to get like the words that I want to say processed through my head and then out of my mouth. So a lot of the times it just manifests in, like, if we're having a conversation, even if it's a regular conversation or a difficult conversation, and sometimes I don't really know what to say, it's as much as like putting my hand on your thigh and letting you know that I'm hearing you. Eye contact, you know, like even if we're just sitting in the same room and like, or we're sitting in separate rooms and I know that you might be struggling with something, just being in the proximity of each other. And that's a way that I show that I'm like silently supporting you, but I'm here physically if you need me. So I'm definitely more of a physical touch kind of person, and probably also like quality time. I definitely like to spend good quality time getting to know my partner inside and out. And by quality time, I mean, like, you know, uncovering the things that you like to do, or just your like habits of life, like what your interests, what you like to do, and like vice versa. I like when people are interested in spending quality time doing the things that I like to do. And it, you know, it's always going to be a compromise. We may not like doing the same thing all the time, but it's the way I'm gonna show that I love you is by, you know, maybe I'm gonna do something that I wouldn't normally do because I know that you like it. Yeah.
Like, that's a good expression. And like, I've read before, like, I know there's the book, The 5 Love Languages, and I've like done a little online quizzes and stuff like that. But a lot of things like I've learned over the years of my own experiences and talking to other people in and out of successful relationships. Like, I hear the question a lot, like, how do I know they love me? How do I know if they love me back, or something like that? Like, or does he love me? Does she love me? Like, one of the things I've kind of learned is like figuring out what their love language is as well. Like, sometimes if you're with a partner and like, let's say my love language is words of affirmation, right? Like, that's the main I love to say it. And especially you find a lot of women who are okay with giving their words of affirmation, and there's some people who aren't. And it's figuring out, is your partner showing you love in a language that you just don't understand? Like, maybe like I'm not a big quality time person. Like, I could go like I can go 2 or 3 weeks without seeing my partner and be okay. Like, you know, I'm used to traveling. It's part of my lifestyle. Like, I don't need to be in the same space all the time. But when I do see you, I'm cooking dinner for us. I want to rub your back. I want to, like, you know, I like physical touch too. Like, I want to lay, you know, play in your hair and things like that. And so for some people who ask me sometimes, and we get a lot of questions in the podcast now, it's like, I hear that a lot. How do I know they love me? Like, look for those other signs. Don't necessarily look for the love that you want to receive.
Exactly.
Look for how they're expressing love, because they could be expressing their love for you in a way that you might not be seeing right away, because maybe gifts aren't your thing, or something like that. So,
but it's like you said, it's important to note that this person is trying to show it in the way that they know. But another part of that is verbalizing and expressing the way you would like to be shown love.
Big one.
Because a lot of times people are like, oh, this is my love language, but they don't communicate that to their partner. So their partner's over here buying dozens of roses, and you're like, oh, great, thanks. Like gifts aren't really your thing. So they're thinking, oh, well, she didn't even care that I, you know, got roses or something like that. And then that might not be the case. It's just like, you know, that's not the way that you receive love all the time. But it's always important to acknowledge the effort. And honestly, that's what I was going to say, is that, like, to me, love, especially romantic love, is a choice. A lot of times it's a feeling that you feel, but it's also a choice, because to choose to love someone means even when you don't like that person, you are still choosing to show them love
Yep.
and respect. And like the difference between feeling love is that, oh, I feel this, and those feelings can go away. Like you feel happy, and then the next minute you can feel sad. It's the same thing. You can feel in love, and the next minute be like, you know, not have that overwhelming like feeling of love. And so that means like if you're going to choose to be in a relationship, in a loving one with a partner, it's got to be an everyday choice. You have to wake up and be like, even if I don't like you today, I'm going to choose to love you.
For sure. 1,000%. I just recently was talking to someone, I can't remember who it was, but it was like falling in love is easy, but maintaining the relationship, maintaining the freshness, maintaining the quality, staying in love is where the effort comes in. Like falling in love is easy. I could do that every summer at Pride. Like, every time a Megan Thee Stallion video comes on, there we go, I'm in love. But you know, I think, you know, I'm not a super relationship expert. I've had bad relationships and I've had good ones. But I feel like that's the part where, at least for me, I know in certain relationships, I've been like, man, I don't love this girl anymore. And I looking back at some of my other relationships, it probably wasn't that I didn't love her anymore. It's probably like we got tired of working to stay in a happy place.
And that's okay. A lot of people think that they're dating and, you know, you gotta marry and be long-term and date the first person who you feel like you're in love with forever. Like, that's not the reality of the situation. Like anything, you know, it can grow and it can change. Like, you could be in love with someone and really just, without any sort of drama, just fall out of love. And if two people both are like, you know, I'm kind of tired of working to love this relationship, it could fall apart very quickly. And that's like, okay, as long as it's communicated and like you're talking to your partner and maybe you want different things in life than you did previously, and you know it affects your partner, that all that stuff affects your partner. And I think a lot of it too is, we didn't put this on the list, but self-love.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about self-love.
You how you gonna love somebody else?
How we missed
if
that?
You don't love yourself.
You can only love. I especially started to believe this in the last 4 or 5 years of my life. I'm turning 37, y'all, and I feel like I'm an adult. I feel like I'm weathered now. I feel like I know things.
You've been through it.
I'm probably young. I'm probably still got a lot to learn. But like one of the things like was understanding. I had a revelation in myself where I realized I couldn't love anyone else any more than I loved myself. And I couldn't expect anyone to love me any more than I loved myself. I couldn't expect a woman to outlove me more than I could. She can't make up for the lack of love I have for myself, and vice versa. I also realized I couldn't outlove someone. Like
as much as they love themselves.
I could only love you as much as you love you. There's no extra love that I can pour in to make you see. Like, girl, if you saw yourself while I saw you, you wouldn't have a problem. But it just is hard to do.
Yeah, and you can't make somebody see through your eyes what you see. And you can want to love someone as much as you want. You can want to do that, but again, a lot of that is gonna surround itself, have to be involved with how they love themselves.
And self-love is really important. Good
it's
one.
So important. I just thought of that one.
Good one. Self-love is like, you know, and it is, I like now that self-love is kind of trendy. It's like it's like self-care Sundays is like a thing now. And it is, girls and men, like men, women, people, you know, learning to love yourself is also an ongoing process. You just don't wake up one day and be like, oh, I love myself.
I got it. I got it today. Because you might have it that day. And then tomorrow comes around and you might not have it that day.
Yeah. That is also a work in progress. Yeah.
And as your relationship blossoms with a partner, your relationship with yourself also has to change. And so self-love is super important when entering any relationship, any sort of love, whether it be romantic or platonic.
Or otherwise are the platonic ones that turn romantic. Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know if we got time to talk about that one here. Shoot, because that's a whole nother can of worms we ain't opening.
Actually. actually.
Yeah. This might have been kind of like, we may have touched on this a little bit, but I want to know like your opinion on it. Like the difference between, you know, what we say of being in love versus just regular love. Because that can be like, you know, obviously there's platonic and romantic, but you know, like you said, sometimes they mix and merge and it's weird. So like, what is being in love versus just like, you know, I love you, dude, or like, I love you, girl.
I love you, girl. I like, it's kind of a little bit like how I said before. I think being in love is the easy part. Like that's just easy. Like I'm just head over heels for you. Like I just like everything you wear is perfect. You smell nice. You look pretty.
What happens when that one day when she don't smell good?
Yeah, just one day you just wake up and you look over and y'all just two regular motherfuckers laying in bed. Like that's what loving is to me. I think being in love is the initial puppy phase, the initial honeymoon. You know, and I think loving is similar to what we said, where like loving takes work. I think because it's easy to be in love, and I think when you have that in love foundation, then I think loving is certain things like you know, loving is being like, this is my side of the bed, but I'm gonna let her have this one side. Even though
tonight.
That's actually not a good example because I never give up my side of the bed. But you know, so every once in a while I do. Every once in a while I do.
Nah, yeah.
But little things like that, like loving, I think is expressing it through whatever the 5 love languages are, or however you try to decide. Loving is making an effort to show your partner how you feel. I think in love is the feeling inside that you have, and I think loving is that outward expression of what you feel inside.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up. Like,
hey.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that one.
Told you guys. I'm starting to get up there.
You must be an expert. Y'all go to SarJ for any sort of relationship advice. Nah. Yeah.
I think I'm doing all right. But what else? Oh, so which led me to a question I had for you, which is, okay, now that we've got the whole loving and being in love and the languages, the love at first sight.
Yeah,
is
the
that
love
real?
at first sight.
Honestly,
I'm hesitant to say yes, but I'm also hesitant to say no. Like, I feel like, again, you can feel a really strong and intimate connection with someone off rip. Like first sight might be a bit of a, you know, it might be a little hyperbolic. Obviously, it's for the whole, you know, the Disney characters, they fall in love at first sight and we see this whole thing. But like realistically, you don't know nobody by first sight. You don't, what is like, what do you know about them to love? Exactly. So I think like you can feel like a really strong magnetic connection, an intimate connection with someone pretty early on based off like maybe a first conversation or like when you lock eyes. I remember like I wouldn't necessarily categorize this as like first like love at first sight or anything, but I remember I was talking to this girl. It wasn't love at first sight because I had seen her and I was like, I mean, you know, she's cute, whatever. But like the first time that she like touched me, I felt like electronic pulses through my body. And I was like, this is it. I must be in love.
The one.
Like, yeah. And it was a pretty instant, like, connection, intimate, romantic connection. It was very instant. Mm-hmm. But, you know, then again, obviously, I'm not still dating this person. So, like, did we choose to follow up on those feelings? We didn't. So we didn't choose to love each other. Mm-hmm. But there was a strong, like, serious, intimate, spiritual, physical connection very, very early on. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, can you be really, really attracted to someone the very first time you see them? Yes. And can you make that into a long-term relationship and love somebody for long-term? Can you make that choice to do that? Yes. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's what I think love at first sight is. It's like, ooh, I'm really attracted to you off first, like, sight, conversation, whatever it is. And then it's like shooting your shot or whatever, and then actively making the choice to continue to work to love this person, not just for the way you saw them the very first time, but for everything that they are inside and out.
Yeah, no, super valid. And I found that to be like super interesting in that we chose not to love each other. Like there was that connection and we chose not to. Actually, for years and years and years, I did believe in love at first sight. And it's funny, I know this story that you told before. I think you've told it to me, but I was actually kind of around the same age. I was about 22, 23. And this is the time that I thought I fell in love at first sight. I was on Morgan State campus. If this girl is out there listening, I'm so embarrassed. She probably doesn't even know the story. But I remember my homegirl needed to get her hair done. And she was like, oh, we'll pick up this. I'm going to go pick up the girl to do my hair. And we pulled up to like somewhere on campus. I can't remember. And this girl came walking down the steps. When I'm telling you, everything fucking stopped.
The world.
Like, everything stopped. It was slow motion. The sun bounced off her face perfectly. And I looked and I was stupefied. I was just stuck staring at this girl. And then she kept walking towards us. Oh my God, it's her. This is the one we're here to pick up. She didn't walk to the car, y'all. She glided in my direction. And I knew
she was a goddess.
I was smitten. I was like, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen on a place of this planet. I was smitten. And at that moment, I was like, oop, I'm in love. No, that's it. She's the one. I also wasn't out yet. So there was that. Major asterisk.
You were in love peeking through the closet doors.
Through the closet. And so long story short, like we ended up talking for a little bit. And we were dating for a little bit. And I came out from this relationship. She was the one that kind of brought me out the closet. But she also, also was the one that broke my heart the first time. She was also my very first heartbreak because as madly in love as I was with her, she did not love me back.
Yeah.
She did not love me back. Yeah. I don't even think she liked me that much, if I'm honest with myself.
A lot of times, love doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And I was so hurt by it because I was so in love with this girl. I thought she was so gorgeous. I wanted to come out. I just loved her so much. I was like, I can't deny my feelings for you.
Everyone must know.
Everyone must know. I almost said her name. Oops. She is... I was like, this girl, look, to all my straight friends that hadn't been out yet, they're like, what's going on? I was like, I don't care what y'all think. This girl here is for me. She's hot. And I wasn't for her. And that was the first kind of real lesson I had. Like, in hindsight, now that I'm a little older, do I think I fell in love? No. I think I was just sort of in lust. Yeah. I think I was sort of just... Yeah.
You're in love with that instant feeling of like butterflies and that instant like you feel like you have a connection, whether it's physical or spiritual or mental, whatever sort of connection you have. You're in love with that initial spike of like adrenaline, endorphins, all that stuff. So you're in it's like almost like it's like a fix. Yeah, drug addicts are in love with the feeling of drugs, which is why they do it. And so it's like love at first sight is almost like that first kind of like, you don't know nothing about this person. You don't know nothing. How can you love them? You don't know nothing about. I don't even know your name.
I didn't know her name. I didn't need to. No,
I'm in love with the way you make me feel, and that's that within itself is a whole different thing.
Very dangerous territory.
It is because like and being on the other end of that spectrum where it's like you love someone and you feel like they don't love you back, or the other way around. Someone's really, really feeling you and you don't really know if you're feeling them the same type of way. Like a lot of times, sometimes you can force yourself to try to emulate those feelings. And that, again, that's just dangerous because it's like, are you being true to yourself and your partner? Why are you choosing, like, it's a difference between like choosing to love someone because you have really, really strong feelings for them. Now, like choosing to pretend to be in love because you like this person to be around. I feel like I see that a lot in some relationships.
Like when someone loves the other person and they just faking like I love you the same just because you don't feel like breaking up with them.
Yeah, something like that. Like,
I guess I've kind of seen that. I've definitely been in lopsided relationships where I felt like the person I was dating liked me more. And I felt like I've been in relationships where it's like, I'm not even going to begin to like you any more than I like you. So please don't.
And I've been on the other end of the spectrum too, where I've been in a relationship where like I felt like I was really feeling this person and they're verbally telling me, oh yeah, like they're verbally being like, oh yeah, like definitely I like you. Like we're in a relationship or whatever type of relationship it was. Doesn't always have to be exclusive, but they're saying, oh yeah, and like continuing to like egg you on when they don't really feel the same way about you.
Yeah.
And so be careful with that, folks, because it's not a good feeling to be on either end of those things, I would imagine, because like now you're like bamboozling someone and kind of playing with their feelings for what?
Yeah, don't lead people on. If you know someone cares about you significantly more than you care about them, don't lead them on. That's red flags. That's episode 3, I think. Red flag. That is a red flag. And then 2, it's like, I mean, I don't want to say like karma, but I feel like that is like come on, don't like be honest with the person you're dating.
Yeah.
Like, like I love that you like me, maybe, sounds egotistical, but but my feelings for you are here, not there.
People love being loved.
So much.
People love being loved, and sometimes you end up in a situation where you're like, oh, maybe I don't feel the same way about this person, but I love how they do things for me. And that's very selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like basically you're using this person for how they make you feel. And love is always an exchange. And as much as like people hate to don't like that vocabulary, I think it is. It's an exchange. You're giving something up, a part of yourself, in kind of, you should be expecting something in return.
Yeah.
Because again, if I'm going to choose to love you, you have to make the choice to love me back. Or why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
Why are we in a relationship?
Yeah. All energy is an exchange. You can't expect to give and not getting anything back. And you can't expect to take and not give anything either. And like, I've seen that too a little bit more often. I see sometimes in hetero relationships a lot. Where well, maybe, yeah, I mean, probably in lesbian relationships too, where one partner doesn't want to break up with the other one just because they just don't feel like it, or they don't want to break the other person's heart.
You're breaking my heart more by lying to me.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't want to hurt them, so, like, no, okay, well, you're hurting them by wasting their time and leading them to think that they're
right, because they could be with someone who actually loves them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
breaking up with people is hard, y'all, but, Go ahead and let us know.
Yeah. So, common misconception / myth. Approve or deny, Sarge. Do lesbians fall in love faster than regular heterosexual folks or other people within the LGBTQ community? Is this just a stereotype from your experience? Have you seen this manifest?
Okay. I feel like off the rip, I want to say yes.
And why is that?
I don't know if it's a stereotype. Okay, so I kind of want to say because society conditions women to love so much, I think as society, as women in this country, we're allowed to love. We're sort of encouraged to fall in love. We're encouraged to look for relationships. We're encouraged to share our feelings just as women in general. And so I think when you get 2 women together, that expression of feelings just comes a little bit more naturally just because of society.
It's a little bit more intense.
Right. Where men have been societally made, quote, to not love and to be tough and
to not
hide
show
their feelings, not show. So I think because men are sort of conditioned to not show and women are, when you get 2 women in a room, I think there's less inhibition to share your feelings. And so I think it kind of leads to faster moving relationships and the faster expression of feelings because just women are just, look at it, even when you're not in love, even if you're not lesbian, if you hanging out with your girlfriends, it's normal for girls to go on girls trips and to hold hands and to hang out.
And go on dates. I go on dates with my friends.
With your girls' dates, and you and your girlfriends can cry together and laugh together and do all kinds of stuff. So I think women are just more encouraged to express that. And so when you have two lesbians together, I think there's just less inhibition, and therefore I think that just sort of naturally leads to faster moving relationships. Yeah,
I never thought about it that way. I always just thought, with the whole you-all lesbian, I just thought, to me, I associate it with the bomb segs that happens in the
I was gonna say that too,
beds.
but I was looking for more. I was like, let me get a more intellectual answer.
A lesbian relationship tends to
plus that shit is hot. No.
Man, what can I say?
Plus that shit pop off. Actually, I don't think we really touched on that, but I definitely feel like there's a thin line between really, really, really good sex and falling in love. I think
the line is blurred.
They
cross over sometimes. That's why I never. That's why I never believe girls or any girl who ever has said that they love me during or post sex. I'm like, no, you don't, girl. I've literally said that before. There's been somebody who said that, and I was like, no, you don't. Stop. You love this, and that's okay.
Favorite place to say it.
You love this, and that is okay. And I'm glad that I make you feel good. That's what we're here to do, But, do you love me and all my shit and my flaws? You probably don't even know me well enough to say that you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But physical touch is an expression of love.
It's my expression of love.
And so now I'm wondering if I'm now I'm wondering if I'm toxic now, because I've definitely leaned over in her ear and be like, "You love me, girl."
No.
I meant it though.
No. Red flag.
Now I'm wondering if you're a red flag. But it wasn't like I never said it to anyone I didn't care about. She's rolling. Did you eye rolls?
Okay. I've never said that because I just wouldn't know what to do in that situation. If the tables were turned and somebody said that to me, and I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know what to do," and now we've ruined the mood. I'm afraid to say that because I'm afraid someone's gonna be like, "No," and then we're like, "Well, should I leave?" No, I'm just kidding. No, that's not why I have
Too
it.
soon.
Yeah, that's I'm not. I don't know.
Interesting. Now I have to make sure I'm
not being toxic.
Y'all let me know. Am I toxic for that?
We'll see.
Can you say I love you in the bedroom and still mean it the next day?
If you still mean it the next day, then that's one thing. Now, if you've been like, "Oh, I can't believe I said that,"
I haven't done it that much. I make it sound like every woman I've been with, I'm whispering in her ear. No, there are two women, and they were women that I was in relationships with and feeling strong feelings for. But it could be, we talk about before how being studs, we sometimes over masculinize because we're studs, and especially being a little bit older from the millennial generation. I'm like, I love you. Sometimes it's hard to say, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's like, damn, I really do care for her. I could do this every night, all night. Like, I love you, girl. You love me, girl.
Yeah, I mean,
and I have had, the woman I'm thinking about the next morning be like, and you had better mean it too. I'm like, oh, I meant it. I care about you.
I mean, if you mean it, say it. Now, don't go around tossing them words around all willy-nilly because they mean a lot to different people. They mean different things to different people.
Yes.
And you could say, "Oh, I love you," and then the next morning, it rolls over like it never happened. Or you could do that and someone's like, "Okay, now when are we getting married?"
Yeah.
So
there could be two different reactions.
You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're like, "Oh, let me rescind what I just said."
Yeah. Before y'all
because then it gets awkward.
I did have feelings. I did have feelings. But it can saying I love you is not something that should be tossed around easily, because there are people who do take that very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And so oops.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And honestly, I can look back at some of my previous relationships and just question my judgment. Why did I love this person or claim that I love this person? What about anything that they did / made me feel, made me believe that I loved this person? Like, I really be confused at myself. I'd be like, because I was in the moment, I'm so convinced that, you know, I was in love and I love this person. And then I think back and I look back and I'm like, they did nothing to show that they loved me back or were interested in receiving the feelings of love that I was showing. And then again, it makes me think, like, love, as much as it's good, it can put you in a bad situation. Absolutely. You can be doing shit out of sheer love and the feeling and put yourself in a pretty shitty situation because of it.
Absolutely, you can. It reminds me of, like, I have also, like, done the same. Like, what was I thinking when I was in love with that girl? Like, what did I love about her exactly? I think there's another dynamic too where I felt like it happened to me where I was in love with the idea of being in a relationship, where I was just in love with the idea of not wanting to be single, or I just felt like I had hit a certain age, so I was supposed to be in a relationship. And so, like, I've had that feeling before where I've looked back and been like, did I love her? No, I was just in love with having a family. I loved
how she made me feel. And that's I'm going to keep saying it because a lot of people confuse those two things. Being in love with a person versus loving how they make you feel. Two different things. Amen. Two different things.
And loving just loving the relationship too. Yeah. Loving how they make you feel and loving, like, oh, I'm in a relationship, because sometimes that's you know, like, everyone has cuffing season, you know, like, don't be cuffed up just because you in love with the idea of being in love, right? Like, actually look for the qualities in that person's personality that you guys can bond on, stuff like that,
right? If the question is, like, you're stranded on an island and you can only pick one person and you don't pick the person you claim to be in love with, you know, depends. Depends on the circumstance, but I don't want to get too much into that. Depends. I'm like, are you good on a deserted island, or are you gonna be over here trying? No, but I think we're at the part of the episode where it's the qualm of the week.
Oh, are ready for qualm of the week already? I feel like there's so much we haven't talked about.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, we're rolling.
So I think our qualm of the week can kind of cover a lot of the information on our outline.
Yeah, our qualm of the week. And we get our qualms from a lot of our listeners. And so, especially if you're listening on Spotify or Anchor, we have a Q&A question at the bottom. Make sure you guys are giving us feedback. But this qualm of the week, where is it? Are twin flames or soulmates real?
Is it a thing? Is that real? Is it just a millennial Gen Z internet thing where it's like, my twin flame is somewhere across the world with the wrong girl, and it's my time to go save them, and we're going to be together forever, and they're the only person who I'm meant to be with. Like,
I love those memes. My soulmate out there hoeing somewhere.
Yep. Out there hoeing.
Those memes.
So, do you believe in soulmates, Sarj? Is that something?
Am I first up? Absolutely not. I do not believe in soulmates or twin flames at all. Twin flames I actually kind of wanted to Google it, but whatever. Because someone was trying to tell me, I had this conversation with a couple of other people before, a couple other women before. There's a difference between twin flames and soulmates. Whatever. I don't know. I actually... Oh, God, I hope she's not listening. I actually broke up with a girl because she thought I was her twin flame. I was like, no, I'm not. And we can't be together because you clearly have... No, but... And so we had this big, long discussion about what twin flames are. And here's my beef with twin flames. That's why it's a qualm. I kind of have a beef about this thing. Is because I think it's a thing that people feel like they have to look for. If you have this idea that there is one singular person only for you... There are how many billion people on this earth?
Too many.
Like, it's more than one out there for you. Okay,
yeah.
It's just more. And then I think you overlook.
Too many damn beautiful women out there to be like this one.
And I feel like
you can choose to be with someone.
Yes, you can choose to be in a monogamous relationship. Yes. But I feel like the concept of having a twin flame or a soulmate also eliminates the other opportunities that you could have to meet and be in love with other people. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're just like, what if the person you're dating is like 70% there? but you're like, oh, you're not my twin flame. Like, you could be passing up on a good relationship or a good time because you're out here looking for this one motherfucker.
Yeah. Honestly, what I think about when I think twin flame versus soulmate, I think twin flame is a little bit more platonic. I've heard it used in that way where like two best friends who like finish each other's sentences and like they're kind of born from the same energy, like will call each other like their twin flames because they're like, you know, maybe they have the same mannerisms, they act very similarly, they're interested in the same things. Like, I think a twin flame, for my definition of a twin flame would be like, yeah, someone who you know, you're basically two peas in one pod. You're the same, like, you're part of that same energy. And I think that can be, I mean, you could label anyone your twin flame, really. Like, me and my best friend, we're twin flames. Just because, what are you going to burst up into, fire? Like, what? Yeah. I don't even understand, really, what the reality of it. To me, all of it is just, like, metaphorical. It's all just kind of like, all right, cool, you say this. But soulmate, to me, is, like, something that people search for romantically. It's something that people are like, my soul is connected to yours, and we're going to soul bond and become a spiritual entity. Like, I don't know.
Sounds like, codependent to me.
Yikes.
Why can't we just be in love and work on our relationship? I just feel like the idea of soulmates, it is like twin flame soulmates. Like, again, yeah, it's like I hear that all the time. It's like, when two become one. Like, no, I'm you, you're me, and we love each other. Like, I'm not interested in soul bonding.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. Like, for my Rick and Morty people, there was an episode where they were soul bonded and it was not fun. It was Rick and a dragon, and that wasn't fun. So no, like, I don't know if that's what I'm searching for. Like, I don't know if I want to say I'm going to attach my soul to another soul, especially when you're speaking like energetically, when you think like of our bodies being a vessel for our soul and our energy, and to think that when our bodies die, our energy and our soul keeps living on. You mean to tell me there's one person in however many reincarnations you're going to be living, your energy, your soul, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, there's one in the entire galaxy, the entire lifespan over and over and over again? It doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't make sense. And I think it's a lie. I think it sends people on a wild goose chase because y'all here looking for this one. Maybe your one is right under your nose, girl.
Maybe your one is you.
Or sir. Or maybe it's you. Also,
maybe
like,
it's you.
Like, and you know, I love Googling. Google says twin flames are thought to be the most intense relationships we can have in our lives, but they put this in bold, but they're not always meant to last. Blah 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 blah. A bunch of other stuff. Like, to me, like, yeah, is maybe
fire burns out.
Your twin flame platonic? Because the only person I feel like I've been like that I love that much, like I've just run into traffic for, is my daughter. Like, you know, like, does that, like, what? So, like,
yeah, I feel like kids, that's a whole nother level,
right?
Of,
that
like,
don't even count, right?
Twin flameness, like, I don't know.
So that's my soulmate. Does that count? Jeez,
I don't know.
Right?
Some people would say that's weird.
Some people might, but hey, I love my kid. Not everybody loves their kids.
That's true too.
Well, which is a lot. You know, that's a whole nother episode. People overlook that. A lot of people don't like their kids, and some people don't love them. I love my kid. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't got kids, so I can't really speak on it, but I can speak on twin flames. Like you said, the fire sometimes burns out, and I like that they were like something that is quick and intense and may not last for a very long time. Like, everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have experienced that in either platonic or romantic relationships, where it's like really quick, really intense, really like, oh yes, I'm super into this person, and then 2 months go by and it's like that person's not even part of your life anymore.
Yeah, maybe you have multiple flames out there.
Yeah, I mean, that one seems a little bit more realistic in the sense that, like, soulmate, people are always like, oh, my soulmate is one person. Maybe we're thinking about it a little too narrow. Can you have multiple soulmates and multiple twin flames? If you want to use that vocabulary to express how you feel about someone, then sure.
Yeah. I think it's more realistic to have more than one soulmate, more than one twin flame than have just one.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally, like, and I also, like, I'm getting too deep here, but I also feel like, your soul is connected to the universe and so many other souls around you. Like, to limit that to one singular person is, I don't know, it's just silly to me.
Yeah, it's like every
like
energetically everything
and only
is...
picking one thing.
Oh, damn. I love that analogy. It's like going to a buffet and only picking one thing
like,
the whole time to eat.
Perfect food. I must find the perfect food. But you could be passing out on plenty good food.
And even if the food is like and the food is mid, like at least you were like, all right, like at least you learned from that. Exactly. You learned from
you need salt. Now you know.
Now you know. Yeah.
You gotta try some of the other food.
Yeah, and I think it can be dangerous too when searching to date, having such a narrow mindset about who it is you're trying to look for. You have this image, the way this person is supposed to be, some sort of dream or spiritual calling of this like person who's supposed to be your soulmate, that you could end up like not really taking advantage of the relationships and the other things going on in your life.
Exactly.
That could definitely really be good and, if anything, a learning experience for you. Yeah. So... yeah, man. Love is love in all sense and forms. Humans are inherently beings that love whatever it is that you love. So, but then again, a lot of times love will come to you and you don't have to go out here searching for the perfect person or the right one. Like if you love yourself and you are surrounding yourself by a loving environment, love is going to come to you and you're going to be able to benefit from that at the greatest level.
Entirely. Cosign. Agreed. Stop, it'll come to you. Just have faith, maybe.
Have faith.
There's someone out there for you. And probably more than one, based on my flaws.
Yeah. And I think that's that on that, folks. Thanks for listening.
Awesome.
And
give us your feedback. We love our feedback. We love subscribers. We love when you guys subscribe. We love.
That makes me feel so good.
I get endorphins that bounce all over the place when I see our views go up and I see our subscribers go up. And I love even more. I get tinglies, guys, when you respond to our questions and our comments and give us feedback. So especially if you're listening to this on Spotify or Anchor, we've got a little Q&A question at the bottom. We'll put a question in there for the week. Yep. Tell us about your first love. Tell us about twin flames. This is a good one. Good topic. Yeah, we might have to do a follow-up on this one. Yeah, and please subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Queers&Qualms, on our website at queersandqualms.com, and keep tuning in, keep sharing, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks so much. Ever since I've been with you, I've been feeling wonderful. I've been feeling wonderful. Baby, don't stress about the time. Just roll up and smoke it. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Queers and Qualms podcast. This is one of your hosts, Sijara Eubanks, and there's a favor that I have to ask you guys. Yasmin and I are preparing for Waco Worlds. If you're listeners to the show, you know we're both athletes. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter, and Yasmin is a budding, aspiring kickboxing fighter, and she's got a big tournament in Ireland in October of 2022. It's called the Waco World Championships, and we're raising money to help Yasmin get to the Waco Worlds. So if you've enjoyed this podcast today, we'd love some support and donation to help Yasmin get to this World Championships in Ireland in October of 2022. Please donate what you can, $1, $2, and subscribe to our podcast as a monthly donation. Plus, you can write it off in your taxes. It's not a subscription. It's not mandatory, but we do appreciate it, and any donation will help. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you at the Waco Worlds. Talk to you, just sitting there, you fucking cried. Well, you wanna fucking die? Well, I'm here for you, yeah.
yeah. I'm glad your heart beating, baby, and you still alive, yeah. Yeah, you sharp up, it's like a fucking tool, yeah. You on my fucking mind, trying to stop cursing, but baby, you on my time zone, yeah. You should come make a visit by share. I could go and slide, we can mutual, meet in middle. We could do it however you like it, however you like it. Oh, you the only thing that's on my mind, yeah. Oh, baby, all the time, yeah. Oh, baby, all the time, yeah. All the time, yeah, baby, you the only one that